Welcome to the California Urban Podcast. I'm your host, Mark LeVar, and I'm really excited that you're tuning in. On this podcast, we explore the quality of life that Californians experience on a day-to-day basis, good or bad. So, California's the place, urban's the perspective, and truth is our only objective. Let's talk. Marketing right now, he's already, he stays in coach mode. All right, this is my guy. I'm live in studio with the man, the boss of all bosses, Reza Hariri. Let me tell you a little bit about my man, Reza Hariri. Met him back in, 2007, 08?
07, yeah.
Yeah, Clear Channel Radio. I was at KMEL with Aaron Jones, and you were at what?
Kiss, yep.
Kiss FM. Bossing, making all the money, doing all the parties. It was cracking. But I love this dude right here. This is the man. Give you a quick background. Again, met him in radio. But what I know of you, you were... Tell us about your background. You can tell us better than I can.
Yeah, I mean, I met Marcus back in the day, and huge fan. Work ethic was great, so we hit it off right away.
Yeah.
And obviously, we had a lot of people in common, so it was kind of that family atmosphere at that time in radio. But, came to this country as an immigrant in 79, like a lot of other people, living in the basement of my aunt's house, and in Berkeley, California. And, from there, eventually, went to school.
Did you go off to college?
I went to San Diego State. I'm an Aztec. So.
Damn, dude, you've been in all man, I love San Diego.
Me too.
I just discovered San Diego last year.
Yeah, it's
and
beautiful.
I went back like 5 times.
I love to retire there, right? I love the ocean.
You know what? I was telling my wife that's where I want to retire. What is that? They have Coronado Beach.
They got Coronado, yep. They got Del Mar,
like
they got La
Navy base or something like that, right?
Yeah. Very military town. And no disrespect to the mission, but they got the best burritos in California, right?
They do. And then they have that Gaslamp District.
Ooh. Yeah, it's bananas.
I knew I liked you, Red. I didn't know you went to San Diego State.
Yeah, I'm an Aztec.
Yeah.
And from there, I got a break. I started coaching college football at Long Beach State and UCLA, Mesa College, and had a 1-year stint with the San Diego Chargers, and got into radio by accident. Really fell into it when I was interviewing for defensive back position at San Jose State. Met the general manager at KMEL, thinking it's going to be an on-air gig. And next thing you know, I'm sitting in a cubicle with a phone book next to Aaron Jones. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? This doesn't look like a studio.
Yeah, how you go from the Chargers, man, to sitting in a cubicle with a phone book?
With Aaron Jones next to me.
Aaron Jones, right.
I don't know. So it was pretty magical, though. I mean, very...
And this is like early 90s?
This is 98, May of 98.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So it was pretty magical. I mean, sports has always been my passion and my love, and I missed the players and I missed the field. But when I got into radio, it was especially hip hop, which was my other passion. When I got to KMEL,
it was KMEL.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when the music was just taking it to another level, And the station was hot, and Sway was there, and Rosary was there.
Now, what was the station prior to KMEL?
It was the Camel Rock of the Bay. It was a rock station way back in the day before it became KMEL.
So KMEL actually ended up being like one of the first hip-hop stations?
I think it was the first hip-hop station in the Bay Area, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Yeah, and so how was that in the early days, man?
I will say it was fun because it was radio, right? You were just KMEL. It wasn't a big conglomerate, even though we were owned by a conglomerate. Mm-hmm. It just, you had your own station, you had your own personalities, you had the DJs, you had celebrities.
Some of the personalities?
I mean, you had Rosary, you had Sway, you had Trace and Franzen, you had a lot of Billy Vidal. You had a lot of these guys that were, legends, and they're still legends in the game. And, throughout the building with Rennell at Kiss and Don Blue at K101, just a lot of icons in radio when it was so personality driven and people, the Doghouse of Wild. So a lot of cool stuff.
All of that as you
a lot of cool stuff, right? And a lot of these guys, I lived in San Diego for a long time in Southern California, but coming back, I knew who Chewy was. I knew who My Emotion was. I knew,
And they were there back then too.
They were all there, yeah.
youngsters back then.
Youngsters.
Not even really knowing what you guys were getting into.
No, man. It
Just
was
living on a day-to-day.
It was a beautiful time, and I will say, for me, not having done sales and sitting in that cubicle and lucky enough to get to sit next to Aaron because he was doing it really big and making money, and my only motivation
AJ was there first?
Oh, yeah, AJ was there first. AJ had been there for a couple of years, and he was my motivation because I watched him, and he was very good with people.
Yeah.
But he used to always just, talk a lot of mess to me, like, look at my check. And it just motivated me, not necessarily about money, because when I was doing football, they weren't paying very much. It was about, if I can make 1 more cent than this guy, I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to survive. I'm going to survive in this big business. So I had a really good run. We both did, and from there, had an opportunity after a couple of years to get moved up into management to run KKSF, the jazz station, which is legendary with Miranda.
Was that a hard transition going from what you love, hip hop, to like a more older demographic?
Yeah, my mom loves jazz, so I listened to KKSF, and I liked the music, but it was, I'm leaving my friends and that atmosphere we had at KML, which was a lot of fun, to building a staff and going to a jazz station. It was older at the time. It seemed older.
Yeah.
But you know what? I needed to make my own niche.
You actually enunciate your words.
Yeah.
You gotta tuck your shirt in.
Yeah, you gotta wear a suit every day.
Yeah,
I wasn't dealing with club promoters anymore.
You can tuck the chain. Am I good, Rez? We good?
My clientele changed. I wasn't grabbing bags of money outside of banners from promoters.
I mean, I love that. I miss that, man.
Oh, it was great. Trust me. The Beehive and everything else, every promoter I did. It was great. But KKSF was great. It was legendary. The music was great. The events were great. And it was a chance to make my own niche, which is what I wanted to do, because I had some really good mentors and friends at KML, Aaron and Scotty. But it was time to kind of carve my own niche and separate myself to do, start claiming my stake in what I'm going to do in this radio game.
So in that case, that helped you being able to separate from the homies.
Right, because, we were one crew always doing the same thing. Everybody looked at us, as here's these 3 guys doing really big things, and I needed to carve my own niche to prove my versatility.
Because when I met you, man, you were sitting in that office looking like Al Pacino. I come in here all nervous, like,
No, it was good.
He really owned the station.
I really had some really good mentors, and we're all driven, by different things. And my drive was to matter in this game that I got into, because football meant so much to me. Now that had ended, and I made this decision to go on with radio, I wanted to be a positive person in that building. I wanted to be a positive, because someone took a chance on me. Someone with no sales or business background, a football coach, to get to where I got. I started believing, like, that's kind of my mission, to believe in some people and give some young people, such as yourself, that have a ton of talent, the opportunity to do some of the great things you guys are doing. So that's kind of the proud moment for me, looking at all the different people that work for me and where they are now. So it goes back to that for me.
Yeah, and so then you migrated to KISS FM, huh?
Yeah, I went from KKSF to KISS, and kind of a rebuild, and did a great job, and got a chance to work with Renelle, which was a lot of fun, and got to do some fun bits. Finally, after 9 years of radio, got to be on the air with her on her morning show as a little bit. We used to do the Love Doctor.
Was this before me?
This was, I think you were there. We used to do it like once a month. I used to come in and be the Love Doctor and be her chauvinistic sidekick. So it was a lot of fun. It was fun to do that with Renelle, and I tried to get some personality fees, but not too many people hired me to endorse their product. But it was good. It was a lot of fun to do. And then I left there for the digital role for a while to be the director of sales at Monster.com, which was fun. But I missed radio. At that point, I realized
atmosphere.
I missed. Kind of. It's an old school way of doing business, right?
Yeah.
You meet people, you shake hands. It's not, online the whole time, and IMing people. And I remember the first couple of weeks, I'd call a client, and they're like, email me right back, and I call them again, and they're like, hey, I just got your message. I'm like, and people didn't want to talk in that way. So I missed it, but it was great to get the experience to run a digital company and understand the whole digital platform has obviously helped me, but I miss radio, so I went from there.
Radio is changing.
It is changing.
And one of the main topics of today is, what do we think the future of the radio or California radio market is? Because you were telling me about the numbers from listenership versus, when we started, or when I started in 2007 to where it is now. and it's dropped tremendously due to, I'm sure, technology and the different ways to consume music, like streaming. And,
Right.
and
Well,
all
I mean,
that.
we have options, right, Marcus? And it used to be radio was the king of content. Like when we were at KML, we break new music. You know, you heard
Right.
Flavor in your ear for the first time, and you broke local artists like JT the Bigger Figure and people like that. So the community in KML was known as the people station, right? Like
Right.
the community and radio were one intact thing. Chewy used to do his Chewy Claws and do all these different things for the community. It's gotten away from that, as you've seen. You know, there's less live personalities on the air now, as a lot of the stuff is voice tracked to save money.
Right.
So you don't have that connection when someone's sitting in San Antonio and saying, "Hey, Bay Area, you know, which bridge?" Like they don't know which bridge. There's a lot of different bridges, and much
Right.
like New York, each community in the Bay Area is very different. Oakland's very different than Richmond, which is different than San Francisco,
Yeah.
which is different than San Francisco, right? So it lost kind of that community and touch with it, and then also advertisers started looking at it as a you know, passe, right? It's not the new shiny toy now. They'd rather
Right.
pay an Instagram model or tweet about something, or,
Right.
you know, than spend their money on radio. When we were there, it was a really
That was
good
the
business.
way- yeah, that was the way.
Everybody, right? Like
Everybody,
I mean,
you know?
you didn't have to fight for business. People would
Yeah,
come to you,
fighting
and
it, yeah.
now promoters, record labels, they don't want to spend money on radio anymore.
Right.
They have other ways to promote, you know, themselves, whether it's texting or tweeting or all the different things they can do, Snapchat, and people don't want to spend money on radio. And the bigger advertisers like McDonald and Coke and them, they're spending less and less money on radio and figuring out digital solutions or Pandora or streaming or Apple Music, you know, or product placement.
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways to advertise, and radio, unfortunately, on the revenue side, is not there anymore.
Yeah. So they have to really diversify.
For sure.
Right.
But the way I look at it is much like these radio, if it had done what it was supposed to do 10 years ago, it wouldn't have allowed a Pandora or a Spotify or Apple, any of these people to come into play, because radio focused so much on just advertisers and this is the way it's going to be, and never thought forward. They opened up that streaming lane for these companies to come in and do it, right? And now when these companies are like, hey, radio's not doing this, I'm going to stream and I'm going to have all these
Right,
artists
right.
on, and I'm going to break new music and
Right.
have people discover music. That's what radio used
Now
to
you're
do.
behind in the race.
Now you're behind in
when
the
you
race.
had all the power to stay ahead.
And now
of
the
that.
content's changed,
But-
like
right.
So you're
That's
doing
called
these
keeping your ear to the streets.
true,
Yeah.
and these curated playlists. I mean, it used to be where you had the wake up show and Sway would break artists and talk about different music, and you know they had different segments of the time where they would actually talk about music and artists and local and even international artists. But now it's just this 40 really tight playlist that's made for the PPM and the, it's a small sample size based on a small sample size of music telling me what I like to listen to, which isn't true.
Yeah. So how do we open that back up?
I think we gotta make radio the hub of music discovery again, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be where you break artists, where local artists matter. Where if you're a hip hop station, you're not programming for the meter. You're also playing different music and seeing how people interact with it and what people think of it. You know, even on the old school hip hop station, you can only play that Naughty by Nature song so many times. If you look at the whole volume of music and generations of old school hip hop you can play, you got to allow that to happen. But programmers are afraid because their whole livelihood is on this rating system, which is in the Bay Area based on 1,600 people for 7 million DMA. I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Right. Do you think that's why KBLX switched? They changed their format.
They have.
I remember they were like old school.
And then it went younger.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's different. Even it just shows how flawed the system is. Because when I was running KBLX, we had one meter that went from an African American consumer to a white consumer, and our percentage of listenership went from being 88% African American to 50%.
Wow.
And that's not true, because we know that the majority of the people that are listening to KBLX at the time were African. Yeah, right. So I didn't understand like this.
White folks in
I mean, it just the
what
system.
meter was this?
Right, the system. One person had it, and it changed everything. So the system is a little bit flawed, and you got to be able to have real data on who's listening to your station, who's interacting with your station, And I think that's where the locality comes in, and that's where kind of the company that, I've been a member of and one of the original people of it the last couple of years comes into play. Because the reality is people haven't stopped listening to radio, but unfortunately that's coming. Revenues have gone down, but the listenership's only gone down a couple percent. Right. But now with Amazon trying to get into the music game, Facebook trying to get into the music game, Apple, I know
YouTube
is big in the music game, right? Google, right? So all these guys realize there's a ton of people, there's 285 million people a week that still listen to radio at one time or another. They're like, that's a lot of consumers. And companies like Amazon and them, they just care about the consumer. They don't really want to be in the music game. They want to just sell you things because that's how they make their money. So when they look at that, why not get into the music game, right?
Right.
Hey, we could do this and stream.
I didn't know Amazon was trying to get into the music game.
Yeah, Amazon Music is big.
Amazon Prime, you could it's almost like a Hulu or a Netflix.
Right, but you can do Amazon Music, right?
Right, now you can do Amazon Music too. Wow.
So it's interesting, but we want to bring it back to where radio, because the advantage of radio is you still have the microphone. And you can always open up the mic.
Now, when you say we, and I'm going to do this as a transition, because I think what's interesting about where we are, we're in California, the Bay Area specifically, which is close to Silicon Valley. So everything is really techie here. Yep. Right? Yep. And so that's what makes this conversation even more interesting. Yeah. As technology increases, and we're talking about an older technology, how do you merge the older technology with the new technology and the new way that people consume? And so I do know you were telling me that you made the jump from having a corporate job. Yeah. And you were really successful in that job. And you made the jump to being a full-time entrepreneur. Yeah. I know that was tough.
It was tough. I mean, it's tough to leave the kind of money and the security. Well, I don't know how secure radio jobs are anymore, but it's tough to leave that kind of atmosphere where everything's kind of done and all you have to do is your job to something where you have to do every aspect of the job, even though my main job is to raise money or do sales. It's still, you have to do everything,
So what did you leave the corporation to do? Tell us about this new endeavor. It's really interesting when you.
I was really lucky. Zan Alexander, who was the CEO at the time and one of the founding members of My Mellow, approached me and Aaron through a mutual friend.
Okay, hold on. You said My Mellow.
Yeah.
Okay, what is My Mellow? If you can just look into the camera.
My Mellow is a technology platform, white label, that integrates with radio station websites and allows them to be a storefront with everything music and events related. That's it.
Just like that.
Just like that.
And so you left. Where was it? Was it
Intercom at the time? So it was KBLX and Q102.
So what sold you on this, man?
I got to be honest. When he approached me at Univision and we talked, these guys were super smart tech guys, and I didn't understand what he was asking me. He was just telling me about this technology, My Mellow, and I didn't get it. Lucky enough, we made an impression on each other that he approached me 3 years later and said, "Hey, let me talk to you in your language, engagement and revenue." And I was right in the middle of doing budgets, and I said, "You know what? This makes sense." And the example he used, which really resonated with me, and I think we talked about it the other day, the day Prince died, and then later on Aretha Franklin, obviously, every radio station in America, including sports and Hispanic, played Aretha Franklin or played Prince. At the end of the day, after Prince died, Apple and Amazon made 15 million, radio made 0. You curate the content, and someone else makes the money. You're sending them, "Hey, go to Apple." Why would you do that? You have the capability to do it yourself. So he said, "This is what we do. We actually can monetize the consumer." Radio still has. So if you look at it, if KBLX has 1 million people a week that listen to it, and I was able to monetize $2 or $3 from 30% of their listenership every month, that's going to change their whole revenue model, right? Because we all spend money on music. I have Apple Music. I have Sirius in my car. We have Pandora. So you spend $20, $25 a month on music. So why not radio get a piece of that? And the same thing with ticketing. Why not sell those tickets yourself and take the commission on the the surcharge?
Right. So you guys are that business model that radio was missing.
We're just taking everything that radio should have done and bringing it back to radio. I mean, every time radio says, go to my Facebook page or my Instagram page, all you're doing is taking your eyeballs off your own site and allowing Facebook to make money. Right? They're not making money.
Right,
but they all feel like, hey, go to my Facebook page. That's what we got to do. Well, like, keep your audience on your page.
Hold on. We streaming on.
Yeah,
so I gotta stream on my Mellows. What you say? Hey guys, tune in now.
My Mellow.
But next week, tune in on my Mellow.
What
Okay.
you'd be able to do, you'd be able to stream it on the radio station. You put your podcast on the station that
Really?
makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Why not do that?
But when these cameras go off, we're gonna have to sign some stuff.
Absolutely. We're in.
You probably got a contract.
I don't want Mike
right now.
Zuckerberg coming after me yet. We're not that big yet.
Okay, so that's interesting, man. So that's what made you you believed in the.
I just believe I started losing my passion for where the radio industry was going. It was getting tougher and tougher every year, and every year people were getting laid off because the business isn't there, the money isn't there,
Right.
and I just kept seeing A's jumping. I saw people leaving the industry. It was hard to get the kind of talent we used to be able to. We used to get people like you in there, and now it was harder and harder. And when you
Right.
got young people to come in, it was hard for them to survive because they couldn't make any money.
Yeah,
and you got all these
yeah.
companies like LinkedIn and Google and Salesforce offering you all these opportunities as a young person.
Right.
And living in the Bay Area, you got to make a little money to survive. So you just start losing that talent pool. And I just,
Right.
once I lost my passion, I know I couldn't do it anymore. It's just like playing sport. Once you get to
Your
that
whole
point.
career's been driven off passion.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
you've been
thing.
a coach, and then you got into hip hop radio. So it's
You got to
blessed,
feel
man.
it, right? You got to
Yeah.
wake up and want to do what you wanted to do. And I was just going through the motions
Okay.
for a check, which isn't the way to live.
Yeah.
So when this opportunity came up, I felt alive again. I'm like, hey, I can give back to an industry who was really good to me and help do a lot of different things for me, both personally and professionally. So why not revitalize this medium? Why not get it back?
Do you feel like reinvigorated, re-energized?
I do. I mean, listen, it's tough, and there's a lot of sleepless nights, and
Yeah.
you're working on a very strict budget and a limited salary because everything goes towards the product and towards getting this thing to where you want to get it. But I feel good every time I talk to someone, a CEO of a radio group, and they get it and they see the benefit and they want to be a part of it.
Right.
I get excited when I talk to someone like you and you see it and you're like, hey, this is what it's supposed to be like. It
Right.
should have that local flavor. Why not have every local artist in Oakland be able to upload their music and let the audience decide if you're talented or not?
Right.
Right? If you really think you're a great R&B singer,
Not a station director.
and you pay to put your music up on the website and people are engaging with it and liking it, great. If they're
Right.
not, you got to find another
Go
gig,
back to
right? Right. So I mean, it's music discovery again. It does what Spotify does, except someone like Chewy or any of these morning shows or midday shows can turn on the mic and say, hey, check out these 10 new artists from Oakland. Tell us what you think. Smash it or trash it.
Right. Oh, that's dope.
And the artists get to keep all the royalties. We charge them to upload their music. I mean, it used to be like, when we were in radio and the A&R guy would come in and push this Jay-Z album and they had another 100 CDs that would sit in the corner of the PD's office that would never get played.
Yes.
Well, why not upload those and get $100 for each one of them for the year? Put all your music on there and
Right.
let people see it. And for the program director, now it's not a small music test with 100 people, that you pay to listen to the music.
Yeah.
Now it's like a DJ engaging with his audience every day. So you can see if you played an Isley Brothers song and you're like, this is the song I'm going to play on the air because people love it, and you're seeing your audience is engaging with a different Isley Brothers song, it helps you kind of, program your station live, real-time data.
Oh, that's sick.
Right? I mean, that's the way to do it. That's the real way to see how much, and you can go against the rating system because you can say, I might be a 0.1 radio station, or I might all of a sudden be 58% African American instead of when I was 88. But man, my engagement is, I got 250,000 people that engage with my website
Right.
over the
And
month.
so you'll be able to not only music, you'll be able to promote other things like
Everything.
venues and events.
Everything. Sell tickets to things. And also think about like when we were A's and even now. If somebody came to you with $50 or $100 a month to spend with you, you're not going to take it as a waste of your time.
Right.
Well, guess where all that money went? To Facebook and Google search,
Absolutely.
Facebook ads, and radio missed out on that. For every $2,000
It
they
adds
took
up.
in, 17,000 went out the door. So why not allow self-service advertising for the community, right? All these Oakland-based businesses for $50 or $100 a month can upload on a calendar or something like that and see what kind of traction. They're going to do it on search anyway. Why not do it with a radio station that makes sense, genre-based?
Wow. And so I'm sure this is a California-based startup. But I'm sure you guys are going all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, actually-
What markets are you planning to penetrate first?
Right now, we're in a lot of small markets. We're in Eugene, Oregon. We are in New York.
Okay.
We're in Havre, Montana. It's a town of 9,000 people, but the guy is getting...
Give me all 9,000.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting a ton of impressions because now that he's streaming it and people are discovering music.
People are asking you questions, man. So this is my guy, Larry, Mr. Cold Flash 06. He says, what's the name of the platform? The name of the platform is My Mellow.
Short for My Melody, the Eric B. and Rakim song.
There it is. Short for My Melody, the Eric B. and Rakim song, that old school song, man.
Check out the website.
Yeah, go to mymellow.com, and I'm actually going to type that in.
Thank you.
Right now, man. We're sitting with one of the Bay Area
and
icons.
it lists all of the radio groups we're working with. So depending on the genre of music, you can start doing it. But we're adding radio groups on a weekly basis. So
okay, there it is, and that's who's in here holding us down. There you go. That's brother, man. It's the Bay Area icon, man, in radio. This guy is responsible for millions and millions.
Well, that's what we want. We want local artists to put their music up. We want local artists to re-engage with radio, and then we want labels to re-engage with radio. So we want them to feel radio is a part of it, because it doesn't matter how many streams you get. You don't make money off your streams. You make money off your record sales, and radio can sell music for you, and you get to keep all your royalties.
Right. Wow.
Which is
so. Let's say I'm an artist and I'm a brand new artist. What and I want to can you do like specific targeting? Say I wanted to break into the Montana market.
Yeah, you would look at our group of. You go on the new artist page. You put up your art. You tell us do a little bio on yourself. Put up the music, and then say, hey, you look at our station affiliate list, and you're like, okay, I'm a country singer. You guys got stations in Montana. You got a station in Oregon. You got a station in Tennessee. I'm going to put my music up on those 3 stations. It's $150 for the year per station to put your whole catalog up there, and you get to keep all your royalties.
Man, I might dig into crates and get some of my own.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
You pull out that contract.
Yeah,
You never
know. Bring it back.
Wow, that's cool.
It's great.
And then eventually, I'm sure you guys will go international too.
Yeah, that's the play. Because the reality is, and we went to Mid-Am, which is the biggest music conference in Europe and really in the world. So every artist and everybody, that's where we met the Afro Beats, which is a really cool musical movement out of Nigeria.
Yeah.
But all these artists and people want to be on American radio,
they do.
right? People think of the Punjabi MCs because the one song with Jay-Z, but India has a ton of artists that are doing great hip hop. France has a bunch of different people that want to be a part of, and they have no platform to get there. So we do that. But the reality is, radio is really healthy in those countries. It matters in those countries, and they got better lobbyists, right? So eventually, once we scale in the States, our plan is to go to South America, go to Africa, and Europe, and eventually, get into parts of Asia. So. This radio is a global thing, so it just costs a little bit of money to scale and get some of the royalty rights and things like that.
So what about XM?
We're working actually with a digital radio station out of New York, iSoul Radio, and doing really well for him to prove that eventually we can get into the satellite world. For those content is content,
right?
And music is music, so we can help those serious stations make money. Why not?
Right. Because there's 1,000 XM stations
for sure.
But I'm sure you can drive to specific ones.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Like with any technology, you got to keep testing and make sure there's no bugs. See how the audience is reacting, and then shift and maneuver and pivot to make sure it works. And then we approach somebody like XM and say, hey, look at the success we've had with these 3 or 4 digital radio stations. You guys own this whole network. What would you like to do?
Well, man, I love this, man, because again, I always preach, being in the Bay Area, being 40 years old, I don't want to be one of those guys where I'm a grandfather and my kids are reading about the tech boom and now they're looking at me saying, well, Dad, you live right there. What did you do?
Right.
And I don't want to be the one to say I did nothing. And so that's very inspiring that you were able to jump in the tech world, man.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. I didn't think about it like that, but I thought about it like, wow, radio's never really invested in technology. They've never really taken it to that level because most of these companies are in debt and they put their money elsewhere. But here's a tech company that's saying, hey, let me fix the technology in radio. Let me do the right things. The algorithms will be correct. All the different things that, integration with the smart speaker and so on, all those things are coming with us. But I will say one of the things I plagiarized for you, and it really resonated with me when you shared one of the posts I had, you put at the bottom, music matters. And that's really what I thought about, because music does matter. And there's a ton of talented artists, and that's the beauty of radio that you and I loved, was local, right? There's something to be said. The sound in Oakland is very different than the sound in San Francisco, which is different than the sound in San Jose. And when you can base it that way, and you can allow people to hear their music that way, doesn't mean they're not going to like a song from the East Coast or from Seattle or anywhere else.
But let's keep the culture what it is.
And by the way, every one of those artists is going to drive their social media now onto the radio station platform.
Right.
Because, Marcus, you're going to say, I just put up my music to your whole network. Go check it out on KML. Guess what that does for KML? It raises their impressions.
Guess what that does for me?
They're unique, right? And now they can charge for advertising. Now there they go back to the advertising opportunity. Now there's engagement on their site. It's not just a bunch of TMZ reports and jock bios. Now it's real content.
So do you guys do podcasts too?
Podcast is.
Or do I got to put this in rap form? Because I can put it in rap form. Because right now can I do a demo? No. I'm interviewing. I'm always interviewing.
It's content, right? So we integrate with content. So we can have a whole podcasting thing. That's the big thing in radio right now. So why not? It's on demand. Put your stuff out there, and that's the next step for people to put up their podcast. So
that's dope.
Again, based genre based.
Yeah.
So, and it's easier to find. I mean, think about it. When you go on any of these ticket affiliates, or when you go on any Spotify, you got to search. But when you go on a specific genre of a radio station, you know what you're searching for, right?
There.
The events that you're searching for are right there. You're going to find Yoshis and all those things, and you're going to find the specific types of music you want to find. When you just go to one of these Eventbrites, you got to say, all right, what do I want to try to find?
Yeah.
This is specific. It's easy to find.
Right.
And it's part of the community, right? And the jocks are constantly talking about it. Hey, make sure you check out,
And it's tied into the jocks too.
It's the power of the microphone, right? That's where radio excels over Spotify, Pandora, and everybody else is.
Right.
You can actually tell people what to do.
So working, there are a lot of people that want to try to jump into tech.
For sure.
And it's not easy.
No.
So with your founders, how hard was it for them to get that seed money?
We're still
a lot of people have, questions about that. A lot of people, anybody can make an app nowadays.
Yep.
But it's more than just creating an app. You have to have the resources to pay the developers and to keep the technology going, to keep the development happening.
Yeah.
And so you have to have the right people and the right staff. Then you have to have people like Reza, who's connected, who can actually, get it out there to the people that it needs to get to. So how hard is it raising that seed money out
it's
here?
The hardest.
It's such a competitive.
It's as hard. I mean, I always thought I could sell, and I was a good seller.
Yep.
It's hard to get that money because sometimes people are looking for the next shiny toy, and when we said radio, people didn't think about it. They didn't understand it's still technology. You're bringing technology into radio. Now, as music is starting to shift and Apple's making a play to buy iHeart, now it's becoming sexy again. But raising money is hard. It's hard because people, don't want to just part with their money, and it depends what they want to be in, and you're a startup, and there's a lot of startups. So we've raised a ton of money, friends and family, and angel money, but we're constantly, out of the 100 calls I make every day, 20 or 30 of them are to investors and meetings and showing them the platform and the time it takes for people to make a decision. So it's a constant round-the-clock thing as you're trying to chart. Our thing was we wanted to raise most of our money ourselves because at the end of the day, if this thing takes off the way we hope, I don't want to give up my money to a VC who put a couple $1 million in and took 50% of my company. Right. I want to be able to keep that money in my pocket.
All right.
But, there's certain times where you want to scale very quickly, and we got to hire 8, 9 more people, so you need that money to be able to hire it. So that's part of it's part of the ongoing process every day. I mean, that's on your list, and I guess that's why it goes to a lot of sleepless nights, because there's days where you're like, okay, when is our next tranche going to come in? How are we going to continue to get this thing going? But we feel like we got a great product, and it's getting out there, and it's getting a lot of publicity, and we're signing radio groups up, and the business model looks good. So you just keep plugging away and believe in what you're doing.
And so you say you only have a staff of 8 right now.
We have a staff of 8,
great 8,
and we farm out. We farm out our development team. So it's so you do everything.
Wow.
From sweeping the floors to raising money, you got to do it. But it's great, because you feel like you learn every aspect of the business, and each person on our team brings their specific skill set. So I always felt like I was getting an MBA.
Now, before you made the jump, how important was it to know that you were with the right team?
I've always felt, the only way you're going to win is being with the right team. Having the right culture, having everybody believing in the same thing, the same mindset of trying to succeed as a team. Because when you succeed as a team, you're going to succeed as an individual. And everybody gets paid when the team succeeds, right?
Right.
You see these teams that win the Super Bowl, everybody gets paid. You can be a great player on a bad team. It's harder to get paid.
Right.
So I think if everybody has the mindset, you become selfless, and you're doing everything you can to make the team better in anything, in sports and business, your opportunity gets better.
Increases.
Yep.
Wow. So you felt you had the right combination of people.
Yeah, I felt really humble because these guys were all super talented, incredibly smart to a whole different level, and I just felt like no matter what, I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
I learned more in 2 years than 20 years of being in media.
Man.
Just because you feel like you're getting you're getting your master's in business because you have to do everything from dealing with lawyers to writing job descriptions to all the stuff that was done for you, right? An HR person hired for you. This person did. You got
job descriptions, right?
What
do I want you to do?
Exactly. Like in your mind. So, and just some of the finer things of how you keep your company out of trouble and the legal aspects. And
that's another ball game, having that corporate compliance group.
A lot of different stuff, right? So, and setting up insurance for people, all the different things you don't think about. It's just it's been a really cool learning experience. I felt like I'm growing. That's one reason I'm invigorated, because you want to learn. I could do radio in my sleep.
Yeah.
But this is like every day is a challenge. Every day is something new coming on, and you got to focus.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you get
and you got to stay positive.
Yeah. Sometimes you get floored, and other days you have that small victory, and it feels like the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
That's great, man. So a lot of traveling in the near future. Or?
Yeah. We got some really good meetings. That again, the industry's been really kind to me, and some good people have set up some good meetings with some really big radio groups. Got a really big one tomorrow.
Nice.
But the travel is, I don't mind the travel. I'll go anywhere to sit with somebody so we could understand what the business is going to look like, shake a hand, and hopefully grow the radio group, because if radio gets healthy and each one of them adds, will be a great solution. Because I look at what iHeart's doing, and they're separating themselves from the rest of the field.
Now, how did iHeart? I didn't think iHeart was going to work.
No.
So it was something that I just didn't understand. I didn't really get what they were doing, but essentially now looking back at it, I guess they created one app to where all the radio stations are plugged into it.
Yeah, it's really just lipstick, right? It's just a streaming service.
Right.
But what their CEO, Bob Pittman's a smart guy. He came from MTV. He's getting slowly away from just being a radio group, and now he's an entertainment company,
right,
which happens to have radio as part of it, right? They do concerts, and they got this, and they got podcasting, and Apple wants to get in and buy a portion of them, buy all of it, because for Apple, they want to be the biggest streaming service.
Right.
They're like, all right, they got access to this many number of people that listen every week. I can sell them my music, or I can get them to stream Apple.
Right.
It's a good move for them. So what does that do with everybody
they've
else?
been around for about 10 years now.
It was Clear Channel, and then they changed the name to iHeart. So I think they've been around.
That was Clear Channel?
That was Clear Channel. Yeah, they just changed it. That was part of the branding, right? iHeart Radio instead of Clear Channel, because Clear Channel didn't make sense.
I thought that was just a new company from...
No, it's the same company. Same company you worked at.
Oh, man, see?
Right?
That's why I'm not in radio anymore. I didn't know shit.
But all this is changing, right? Like Intercom bought CBS, so there's no more CBS.
Right.
So those things continue to change. But as they've shifted the playing field, the other radio groups have to make a decision. How are we going to compete? That's where we come in, because there's another 4,100 radio stations out there.
Yeah.
So let's even the playing field. Let's be able to compete against Spotify and Pandora, but also compete against the one company that's trying to differentiate themselves. There's not that much money left in radio, and if they want to take all of it, you better have a solution, especially on the digital side.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys are like the knight in shining armor to come.
Hopefully we had a pretty girl at the bar and they want to dance with us. Because there's only one left. I always got the rest of them.
That's right. Oh, that's funny, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I wish you much success.
Thank you, and your
man.
support has been awesome. I really appreciated the opportunity to get to do this and have this platform and talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But we're just going to keep pushing for artists. We're going to keep pushing for Radio Group. We're going to keep pushing for local, and I think that's the best way. That's what radio is important.
Yeah, man. It's nothing more real than going back to the roots.
Yeah.
When you say local, that's a word that's almost never. That word's almost extinct. I don't even know if we can find that in Webster's right now.
No.
Local what?
Community and local, right?
Yes.
Get back to doing what you do.
So if you get back there, I don't think it's no way you can fail.
No.
If that's the platform, if that's what everything is sitting on, then you're gonna be successful with
Absolutely. I feel it, and we're going to keep plugging away, and hopefully we can make radio, revitalize the industry and make it what it was supposed to be, and have that really cool local aspect and musical aspect and discovery, but at the same time be a really strong technology, right?
Right.
And to be able to do all the things it needs to do, so you're, integrated into your Sonos speakers and into your smart speakers and all the different things you can do. Eventually Bitcoin, paying artists and things like that. So a lot of different things to add, and all that is coming. We have that in part of our thing, but first you got to get up and running and raise money, and then you can keep adding features like you said.
Yeah, definitely. So with that being said, how do you plan to advertise to the people?
We've been just working a lot of organic. We've been lucky. We've been in Music Ally, which is a worldwide music publication, did a really cool article on us, and is doing the second one out of London. We were in Radio Inc. We were in RBR. We're supposed to do Bloomberg News and TV coming up in January on an interview there. So it's going to just continue to be getting people excited, talking to them, and hopefully wanting them to talk about us in that sense, and getting speaking engagements at different conferences so we can show the platform. We're doing a NAB Futures on the Amazon campus in January. We'll be speaking to a bunch of CEOs and executives in the radio game. So it's just hustle.
Well, if y'all need somebody to speak at Astrotech,
absolutely,
holler at me, man. I'll get
absolutely.
Marcus Hughes, My Mellow,
I love
California Urban Podcast.
Hey,
and
I love it. Listen, all of this. I mean, even what you're doing with me to give me this platform. This is all advertising that we need. This is what it's about. It's organic. You're getting people doing it. Hopefully, I know you're connected to a bunch of local artists and stuff. As they hear this and they're like, hey, I got a platform to put up my music and check it out. Whether they put it up today or they put it up, a year from now, you gave me this platform to be able to speak to them. So,
man, I appreciate you coming in, man.
Yeah, man. Always great catching up with you.
Information, and, and your presence, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And, I never forget where I came from. I never forget all the people that have helped me, and that's my duty to do the same for everybody else. So
that's what
I'm always excited to catch up with good people.
That's what's up. So I'm gonna give one last shout out to Reza again. Thank you.
Thanks,
and then
Marcus.
I definitely want everyone to go check out www.mymellow.com. That's MYMELO.com. Check out our melody on mymellow.com. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we're going to check out of here. And I'm gonna sign this contract with Reza real quick.
Giddy up, we got a new local artist. I got him.
He got me. So yeah, I'm gonna sign this contract, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.